The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up and fight for my freedoms and rights. That's the price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama. Tonight is our first 2-hour show at 6 p.m. So glad you can join us. My name is Adam Strange. I'm a NRA law enforcement firearms instructor, and I have a co-host here, Judge Rusty Johnson.
And I'm actually Paul Feinbaum, and I'm wondering why you're still on my show. Why have you moved in on my hour? That really threw him for a loop.
A little bit. So glad you can join us tonight. Our show is going to be on self-defense, firearm and ammo installation, home protection, concealed carry, firearms training, proper range etiquette while you're at the range, and, of course, the law, Alabama law, U.S. constitutional law, and Mississippi and Florida, since we have listeners in both states. So glad you can join us. We welcome your calls and texts here at the station. That number is 251-343-0106, and you can call and text in. And you can check us out on Facebook. It's Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5, and Twitter is Armed Alabama 106.5. And also you can check out our internet website, and it's a very good website, and that is armedalabama.com. And the judge does a very good job with our YouTube channel, and that channel is Armed Alabama, and the judge really puts some good content on there. And so if you get a chance, a good opportunity, definitely go and check those out.
I'm a month behind now because I'm switching from Movie Maker to Adobe Elements, Premiere Elements. So that's a tough learning curve. So give me a few more days to get up to speed on that one.
All right, if you liked our intro song, that song is Don't Tread on Me. It is by a local singer-songwriter, Buck Allen. We want to thank him for letting us use that song. We really like it. Judge, we got a lot on our plate tonight, and joining us in the studio tonight is the Republican Party of Mobile County Chairman John Skipper. John, so glad you can join us tonight.
Thank you, Adam. It's my pleasure to be here, and I've heard a lot about the good things that are going on here with the show, and we're just excited about sharing some time with you.
Thank you, John. Glad you could join us tonight in the studio. On another note, as the judge was commenting earlier, the judge was chairman of the Mobile County Republican Party for 4 years. Is that not right?
Yeah, and I felt like it was 4 years at home in prison. We met monthly then, and I think it was Monday night. It might have been Tuesday, but the day of and the day before, you talk about nerves. It was something, and I think I won by 4 or 5 votes during that election. So, but the next election 2 years later, it was unanimous, which is frightening. So, but it's great experience.
Yes, it is, and we want to commend John Skipper. He's done an outstanding job as chairman of the party. So glad you could be here tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Adam. And you're right, Judge. It could be stressful. It could be trying if we met once a month, but we don't do that anymore. We just meet once a quarter.
Right.
Which is much better on the officers and the steering committee and the whole functioning of the party.
Oh, yeah.
Much better.
I just had inherited that, and I was such a traditionalist. I hated to change anything.
I understand.
Okay, like I said, we got a lot on our plate tonight. As I'm sure a lot of you are aware, that the FBI director came on today and announced that no charges were going to be filed against Hillary Clinton. And I know, Judge, you and I discussed a little bit this day already, and Skipper, you and I have talked already today. And so, I mean, we were pretty disgusted with this. I grew up as a kid, a Boy Scout, participated in Boy Scouts, went to church, like many people my age. I was taught there's right and wrong. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. The good guy prevails, the bad guy loses in the end. The police, the FBI, the government was there, for truth, justice, and in the American way.
Well, you were like me. I was cynical, but I thought in the end justice is going to prevail, but it didn't.
No, and all we get nowadays is a theme of half-truths, lies, cover-ups, where somebody like Hillary Clinton is above the law and is not held accountable, where numerous people prior to her, government employees or military employees, were charged for a lot less, acts than what she committed with this email server business.
Think about people are imprisoned right now for doing much less than she did.
Yes, and the whole point of the email server was to sidestep the law, to sidestep the clarity within government.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't want to be subject to the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
She wanted to keep all of hers secret. And that's a pretty conniving person that would do that. Who would even think of doing that?
Well, Judge, we shouldn't be totally alarmed by this decision or the actions that we've been exposed to from the Clintons, because what's changed?
Exactly.
This is Clinton 101.
Yeah.
And it's been this way ever since we can recall that the first time Bill became probably governor of Arkansas. There's been no changes, and it's just building on one year after another. And if you ask them, I imagine they would tell you that they are 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
It's whatever it takes with them. When he was running for re-election as governor, he let a man who was obviously retarded be executed. Now, why he doesn't care whether it's a liberal position or conservative position, whatever it takes to get power.
That's it. It's a power surge, power hungry group, power hungry family, and it's all about what's best for them. And I think that their actions indicate that it has nothing to do with what's best for the country.
Right.
Yeah, and she had top secret clearance, and she was emailing top secret information on a unsecured server and not using the government server, as you stated earlier, that she didn't want to be held accountable for Freedom of Information Act. I even read an article where the British intelligence and government officials refused to correspond with Hillary Clinton because they knew her email server was hacked. They knew it was hacked. The Russians knew it, and other foreign groups had hacked it and had access to all the emails on her server. So any secrets, any top secret information, or whether it's even proprietary or whatever, was compromised and has been compromised for a long period of time.
Does that make you worried now about Benghazi, about what happened there?
Well, Judge, you can just say that one word, Benghazi. And for most of us here in South Alabama, that says it all.
Right.
That's enough. And if this family, if this man and this woman can get by with the things that they've done, then to me, it just puts our whole nation in peril, and the security of our nation and the standing of our nation, as evidenced by what you just said, Adam, is going down the tube.
Right.
So a lot to digest there.
Well, it really is, and it just shows that, Well, it shows the government that governs best, governs least. This mammoth government that is grown to is bound to be corrupt, and it's invading every aspect of our life, and that's what's frightening. I think we need to step into a break. We'll be back in a minute or two with more of Armed Alabama.
When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time. Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org. Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
All right. Welcome back to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us. Tonight is the first night of a 2-hour show, and I
forgot to warn, no PC, no Marxism, and this isn't for you delicate flowers. So if any of that bothers you, you may as well switch the channel.
Glad you can join us. Like I say, it's a 2-hour show, and we are now prime time. We're excited about it. And in the studio with us is the Republican Party of Mobile County Chairman John Skipper. John, we're glad you can join us. And John has already weighed in several times on the announcement today of the fact that Hillary Clinton will not be charged, or no charges will be brought up against Hillary. So we are discussing that in detail, and we're still kind of maybe a little bit shocked. You kind of expect it. It's the Clintons.
But in the end, you still expect right to prevail. The wrong to fail, right prevail.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
It goes back to what you were saying earlier, Adam, that the way we were all raised and brought up, that right was right and right would prevail and wrong was wrong. And if you were wrong and didn't admit it or was not held accountable for it, then you eventually, the truth would come out and win out. But with the Clinton program and what we've been exposed to as a nation through that family, it gives new meaning to what's right and what's wrong, and and what accountability really is.
So we're going to have an in-depth discussion tonight. If you want to weigh in, or if you have your opinion known, you can call or text. That number is 251-343-0106, or you can check us out on Facebook, Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5.
Let me mention I owe about 10 or 12 certificates to people. And we tried to self-do it, and I'm a perfectionist. They didn't look good, so they're at the printer. So if you wonder, where's my certificate? They're looking nicer. And Cecil, I know you're out there. I got the answer for you. But I'm busy, got busy with this, but I'll call you tomorrow because I think I got some, news you could use.
Yeah, what the judge referring to, as well as doing a radio show, the judge and I, we also teach self-defense classes, handgun self-defense classes. We also teach patrol rifle or AR-15 type weapons and shotguns. So, but anything pertaining to home defense and concealed carry. So we'll be announcing a lot more of those training dates in the future. So keep your ear to rail and definitely sign up if you're interested. If you would like to email the judge and I, you can reach us on our website, which is Armed Alabama, or you can email us. It would be the judge at Armed Alabama or Adam at Armed Alabama. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments or want to know when the next time we have a training date, absolutely contact us through our email account, and we will definitely get back with you.
John, I'm one of the few people that knows how hard you work. When do y'all have your meetings?
Judge, thank you for asking, and again, Adam, for having me here. As I said earlier, we only meet now once a quarter, and the next meeting of the Mobile County Republican Executive Committee is coming up next Monday evening, July the 11th.
Okay.
We will have a social hour at 6 p.m., and the meeting will begin at 7, and we meet at Westminster Presbyterian Church, which is on the corner of Airport Boulevard and Sage Avenue. And the public is certainly invited to attend and just see what goes on in a GOP meeting.
And notice he said at the Westminster Presbyterian Church, it's not at the Mobile Country Club. It's at a local church, and they're just normal, down-home people. And if you're interested in the Republican Party, it's a good place to go. And, John, when do you have I know you have vacancies occasionally, and people can get put on by the committee, but when is the next time the the election is to put people on the committee? Is it 4 years or 2?
Typically, a judge is a 4-year term, but we would take, depending on the vacancies that we have throughout our roster, we can take new members at most any time.
Yeah.
We just have an application right now that we're working on. Probably will vote by the General Committee on that application in October after that individual gets a chance to be vetted by our non-judicial candidate recruitment committee. But there's openings that come up throughout the year in different times. And the good thing is for those members that come on board after the year has begun, their dues are prorated and are less than they are at the beginning of each year.
Right. Good.
So that's a good thing. And our seats are set up accordingly to the person's residence in which House district they vote in. And that's how the seats are determined now. Some districts have a few openings. Most of them, I will tell you, are relatively full, and we have about 96, 98 people on our committee now for the whole county.
And that's who governs the Republican Party in this county, so it's not any kind of closed club. And what happens is people move from time to time, and so they have to give up their seat. So if you're really interested, don't think some elite group runs the Republican Party. This group does. And if you're really interested, go to the next meeting and find out if there are vacancies, get to know the people on the party, and you may want to, if they have a vacancy, you may want to talk to them about joining the organization and representing what you are as a representative of Republicans in your area.
That's right. I appreciate you mentioning that, Judge. Excuse me, Adam. The church where we meet at, we pay them, not they really require it, but we do pay them for the use of their space. So It's not just the fact that they are super Republican benefactors or promoters. We have just found that is a facility that is conducive to our group, and it's somewhat centrally located for the whole county.
Yeah, I think it's a good location.
And it's a good atmosphere.
Yes, it is. Very good. And they've been really great people over there to work with and encourage us to use it as much as we need to, and they've been good partners, very good partners.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 15 years there. I'm trying to really think back. A good while.
So, John, this is election year, and people are looking to try to get involved, try to contribute, maybe some way to have their voices heard. Coming to the Republican Party meeting is a great way for somebody to get involved, somebody to make their voice known or their opinions are known. So you stated earlier about the meetings and when the meetings are, but how can the average citizen find you? How do they find you on the internet? How do they find you on Facebook? Can you share that with us?
Well, we do have a website, GOP.com, and our mobilegop.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter accounts. And one thing that will be announced, Adam, at this meeting coming up on July the 11th is the campaign headquarters. And we will be setting up a campaign headquarters that should be functioning right after Labor Day, and that'll be located in the Pine Brook Shopping Center on Airport Boulevard. Very easy to reach, a lot of free parking, and it'll be probably maintained and run just about every day from, say, 10 to 6 at night, and a couple of times, few hours on the weekends, on Saturdays as well. So people that would like to get involved can find out about our campaign headquarters. That announcement will be made, as I said, next Monday night. And we have an excellent campaign headquarters chairman, Mr. Butch Bloom, who's located this spot for us. And we're looking forward to that location because it is so centrally and located and in a very high traffic area, as you can imagine.
Hopefully you're not going to have to climb up on the roof and put the sign on like I did one year.
No, sir.
I was younger.
We won't have to do that. As a big, nice digital sign out in front on Airport Boulevard, and we'll have access to that. And we will have a banner up over the opening of our space there. So we will be very, very accessible and very easy to find.
Good. Adam, you want to give it a try? We got a caller on the line, and
John, thank you for the call. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Guys, I've really enjoyed what I've heard so far, with the exception of I had just about gotten over the whitewashing that Comey did on Clinton earlier today, and now I'm nauseated again.
I'm with you.
About what she's gotten away with.
I'm with you.
But unlike Hillary Clinton, who cares not about being legal, I want to be legal in everything I do. And here is my question. My mother passed away about 3.5 years ago, and I inherited a pretty decent cache of guns, pistols, etc. In that cache of weapons, some of them belonged to my stepfather, who died 15 years prior. And what happened was, before my mother died, she instructed her 3 children, and I am one, to go divide up the weapons, and we did.
Yeah.
And, some of the guns I cannot use. And I'm wondering, what are the legalities of me selling these guns, and mainly the handguns? Like, I found a small bag that had several small pistols in it, and I don't want to do any. I don't want to break the law by selling them.
I think to be safe, you need to bring them to Adam and I, and we will look at them, and we will give you what we think they're worth.
Well, I've had a lot of people say that.
Yeah. Well, we're telling you the truth. No,
okay.
I think kind of the catch-22 you're in, the best way for her to have done it, obviously, was to put it in a will or give you a bill of sale. That didn't happen. You can't go back. They're yours now. I mean,
right.
They're yours. And I have never sold it. Well, I don't sell guns, so I keep every gun I've ever had. But nobody's going to ask you for a used gun for proof how you got the gun.
Okay.
I've never heard of that. So
right.
You may have to sign something that's saying I'm the legal owner of it, and you are. So that's the way I'd go. I just wouldn't worry about it.
Well, I don't want to break any laws. I know handguns are real specific about changing hands, and it's nothing. There's no AR-15s or anything like that.
Why don't you hold on through the break, and I'll finish up with you because I want to make sure you know how to sell them right. Hang on.
All right.
All right. Thank you. We'll be back.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
We'll expect isolated evening thunderstorms tonight. Low temperatures will be in the upper 70s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon thunderstorms, highs in the lower 90s. And the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny with isolated thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Boo Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
For FM Talk 106.5, I'm Roseanne Haven, News 5. An undocumented immigrant staying in Summerdale is charged with sex abuse of a child under 12. Baldwin County deputies have arrested Miguel Hernandez. If you have outstanding traffic tickets in the city of Pritchard, now's your chance to pay those without getting arrested. The city is offering amnesty through September 6th.
It's an opportunity to finish the year with a clean slate and give them an opportunity to continue their lives without the threat of being arrested.
Pritchard Chief of Staff Philip Steele. A brush fire in Grand Bay burning for 3 days now. Facing small flare-ups overnight, crews dug new fire lines to wet the area to keep it from spreading. No injuries from a crash at a business in Mobile this morning. A truck ran into Quick Pawn Shop on Spring Hill Avenue. No word on what caused the wreck or if the driver faces charges. For FM Talk 106.5, I'm Roseanne Haven, News 5.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
All right, John, to finish up, now you've got legal possession of the guns. Let's say you want to sell them. And let's say you have a neighbor, friend, or somebody you kind of know that wants to buy one or more. The way I would do it, I would ask them, once you agree on a price, to make a copy of a pistol permit if they have one, because that ensures you that you are selling. You don't have to go through a federal firearms dealer if you're selling within the state of Alabama. Okay. That gives you some feeling of comfort that you're selling to somebody who has the legal right to purchase a gun because they have that pistol permit.
So they have to be in possession of a pistol permit.
They don't have to be. They don't have to be at all. But, you know.
It covers me.
It covers you. Right.
Okay.
It sure does. Now, if they're not, what I would do is I would find all of the local gun shops will do a transfer for you. It'll just add $20 to it. I'm just giving that number as a for instance.
Yeah, I've taken it to some of the shops, and they have a certain fee they charge.
There you go.
But I'm talking about a person-to-person sale.
Yeah.
Because several people, have expressed interest in a couple of the guns, and some of them are nice, some of them are not. And I also have like a rifle and a shotgun, that I will never use, and I'd like to dispose of them.
Yeah, somebody that would appreciate them. It'd be cheaper for them once you agree on a price if they went and just got a permit.
Right.
1 year is $20, and why not go get one, and then you wouldn't have to fool with the red tape. Now, if you're doing it out of...
I just did not want to get myself in a legal situation, because the amount of money I would get out of the guns is really not that much.
Oh, yeah.
It's not worth the problems that could arise, and that's why
Absolutely.
I was hoping that you could tell me. But let me tell you guys something. This is I've been hearing your advertisement for your radio show, and this is one of the greatest things for this area, this show that could ever be. And I'm so glad y'all on the air letting people know about their rights, what they can do and what they can't do. And, you guys are the people that are going to keep people like Hillary from taking our guns from us. And I just appreciate your show so much. And like I say, this is the first time that I've ever really gotten to listen to it. I've heard the advertisements, but y'all keep it up, and I'll be listening to you every week.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Adam, let me put out our trivia call. I hate to jump in, but if I have before me, sitting here, Brownells makes good AR-15 magazines. And this has the, it is the chrome silicon spring. This is brand new, 30-round magazine for an AR-15. And if anybody knows who this phrase is referring to, it could refer to several people. They win this Brownells 30-round magazine for their AR-15. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. If you know that, call in, and our screener will take the answer, but I want to talk to you and find out a little bit about you. All right, let's take our next caller, Jay. Hopefully, Jay.
Oh, I'm a lot like the other fellow. I've heard the commercials on the radio because I listen to this station all the time. And it's a great show, so I've enjoyed it so far. And I'm like him. I've got a 12-gauge rabbit ear coach gun that I want to give to a friend of mine's father. And can I just give that gun to him, and I don't have to get any kind of...
If you have no reason to believe he is a convicted felon or, anything like that, yeah, you can do that.
He's 72-year-old veteran of war. He's a 72-year-old veteran.
There's nothing incumbent on you to do an investigation. But then again, if you know he's been a real scoundrel, that kind of raises your... But I doubt it.
So he's lived to be 72.
So but what I do is you can find a very simple bill of sale on the Internet, for consideration of $1 and other good and valuable consideration. I hereby sell, you use the word sell, grant, bargain, sell, and convey this, and use the serial number to, Charlie Smith, this so-and-so shotgun, serial number so-and-so, just so it'll show it's transferred out of your hands. That doesn't have to be filed anywhere.
Thing, I kind of caught, my phone rang, and I had to get off the air for a minute. Didn't one of the fellas say he was opening a shop on Airport Boulevard?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he said something about a sign or something.
Oh, that's the Republican Party. Yeah. Maybe they'll do that
John,
service for us.
John, you want to...
my mistake. I thought there was going to be another gun.
Now, just do a very simple bill of sale. Just if anything ever happens, if the man you're giving it to has it stolen and then somebody uses it to murder somebody, you can say, listen, I gave it to John Smith, 2 years ago, and you'll have your bill of sale there.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you calling to Armed Alabama. I have some good calls so far.
Sure.
If you're just now joining the show, this is Armed Alabama, and I'm one of your hosts, Adam Strange. I'm a NRA law enforcement firearms instructor. I hold 11 different firearms certifications, and my co-host here is the astounding Judge Rusty Johnson, otherwise known as the Judge. Everybody I know who refers to him always calls him the Judge.
Yeah, I'm afraid my wife does now. And I'm an NRA pistol instructor as well as personal protection in the home. And before that, I was almost for a decade director of the court police. So I lectured and went to lectures on building security, how to harden a building against terrorist attacks, court security, et cetera, et cetera. I've tried to put a lot of that out of my mind, but I've found a lot of my materials and updated them since we got involved in the show again. And have we got someone who may know what we're talking about? All right.
So in the studio with us tonight is the Republican Party for Mobile County Chairman, John Skipper. And John has so graciously joined us in the studio tonight. So if you're just now tuning in, we have been discussing the ins and outs of the FBI's decision not to charge Hillary Clinton. But John, you and I discussed this in detail, and we have in-depth discussions several times prior about Second Amendment and the Republican Party role in protection of that right to bear arms.
Adam, thank you for bringing this up. But one of the key principles of the Republican Party, in my estimation, and it is basically written, has been in our party platforms time after time, is the support and the strict adherence to the Second Amendment. That's why I'm really delighted to be here tonight, and the work that you guys are doing here through this program is just outstanding. And so I did want to mention tonight that it grieves me to bring this notice to the public and to you folks, but there appears to be going to be a very important vote in the United States House of Representatives tomorrow. And that vote is being brought to the floor and being handled by Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan.
Boo.
And it grieves me to tell you this, but it looks like that what's about to happen here is that even though the details are still emerging, it looks like that we're being faced with yet another vote to strip us of our gun rights without due process, followed by at least one vote on a so-called mental health legislation. And the way these things are being couched is on the surface. Slippery slope, Judge. It is, and it sounds like on the surface it sounds like maybe it's good stuff.
That,
yeah, who in their right mind could oppose that? But if you as a gun owner and you as a gun owner, if you want to be labeled a suspected terrorist just because you're a gun owner, then that's the first part of these votes that are going to be coming up tomorrow, and it's modeled after Senator John Crowan's failed version from last week.
And I can imagine a veteran of the Iraqi War who has post-traumatic stress syndrome or is depressed, tells his doctor, and he gets in this system, and he's banned from owning a firearm.
Exactly, and the other part of this vote is it doesn't mean to make light of it, but the title is basically "See a Shrink, Lose Your Guns Act," and that's the way it's been. It's House Bill 2646.
We're laughing here, but that's sad.
It is very sad. It's very sad completely, and it's just another vehicle for more mental health reporting requirements and a massive expansion, if you will, of that Brady NICS gun registry. And it's contrary to every every principle that the Republican stands for. So, and you can imagine if this passes the House, what kind of reception that it would get when it gets over in the Senate in front of the likes of Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid, Susan Collins, and those folks. So, what we're asking folks to do, if you can, tomorrow is get on the telephone and call Representative Bradley Byrne and do everything you can to help stop this legislation from passing. And the number for Representative Byrne is 202-225-4931. Let me repeat that, 202-225-4931, Representative Bradley Byrne.
And you can email his office as well.
And that's very important, I think.
Yes.
That's the Soviets used to put their dissenters in mental hospitals. If you were for freedom, if you were for democracy, you were crazy, and they put you in a mental hospital.
Well, it's somewhat scary, like you said, Adam, and we were laughing about it, but the fact that we're on this show tonight, the next thing you know, we're all labeled as a terrorist.
Right. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think we have a man who is going to be on the show who is on the no-fly list because he buys too much ammunition.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Judge? There's been some people on that no-fly list, which on the surface sounds very good. Mm-hmm. But guess who was one of the members of Congress that was on that no-fly list?
Kennedy, which
Senator
may be a good idea.
Senator Ted Kennedy was on that no-fly list.
Maybe for drunkenness he was on there.
And Representative John Lewis on the fly list. Now, are we going to be put on the no-fly list because we're sitting here tonight discussing the Second Amendment?
Yeah. I don't trust them.
I don't either. And I hope that this legislation is not Republican legislation.
Right.
And we're very, very, very disappointed, to say the least, that it's coming and Speaker Ryan will allow this to be voted on.
But what do you expect from Eddie Munster grown up? You notice the widow speak and all.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you sharing with us. sharing with us on that. If you want to call in or text to the radio station, our number is 251-343-0106. The phone lines are actually lit up, and we're sorry we hadn't got to you. We're just trying to get so much information out and share with you what we had. And we're so glad that John Skipper could be here, the chairman of the Mobile County Republican Party. It's been a good show tonight. We'll be back after these messages. This is Armed Alabama.
Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. And I don't like it any more than you, man.
Luke, if we had a prison system that was run like that, we wouldn't have near as many people in prison, because I had 3 generations of people. I had a grandmother, a mother, and a grandson all in prison, So they must not have thought it was very bad because they kept going back to it. Let's take, is it Aaron there? Yeah, Aaron. Now, yes, I ask, who was this phrase referring to? A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. And your answer is probably President Obama. Isn't that right?
No, it's actually referring to King George III, and it was referred by Thomas Paine.
Well, you're close enough. We're going to give it to you. That is actually, it is referring to George III, but that is actually directly lifted from the Declaration of Independence. But you got it. Now, let me ask you a question. We can leave it here at the station, or we can mail it to you, whatever would be convenient.
Well, you can mail it to me. I don't want to give out my address.
No. We're going to put you on. We're going to put you on hold and do that. But some people, live across the bay or whatever, and it's just a hassle. And I'm going to put you on the line with Phil, and he's going to get your address. Now, Payne may have also grabbed that, but that is actually in the Declaration of Independence. And it's amazing because most people just read the first, the preamble of the Declaration of Independence. They never read the whole thing. And I got into this habit years ago of reading the entire Declaration of Independence to my kids.
I called for a different reason. Y'all were talking about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment's all great and everything else, and I'm glad the Republican Party chairman brought it up. The Fifth Amendment is under attack as well. Due process is enshrined in that. The 10th and 9th Amendment are pretty much null and void. Where does it stop? Somewhere it has to stop. We have to have people that will stand up and just say, you know what? This ain't right.
Well, it's funny you say that because, there's talk from time to time of having a constitutional convention, and there are people that are friends of mine that say, gosh, we do that. There are groups that may dismantle the whole Constitution, and my response is, what do we have left?
Well, it's not a constitutional convention. If I'm remembering right, it's actually a convention of the states, and it takes 75% of all the state legislatures to, ratify it.
There's not a lot of danger, but, let's say there was a runaway convention. What are they going to take from us the Supreme Court hadn't done already?
Well, Your Honor, I have no answer for that, but something's got to be done.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, that's the only response I have.
I've got some answers, but I'm going to give it to a seminar first in August, and then I'll come back and give it here. Because there's some ways to give it. Phil, if you can hear me, if you'd pick up the line and get his address, and we'll get it in the mail to you. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron, for your call. Next call we have Martha. Martha, welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you stayed with us and stayed on hold for a while. Sorry about that.
Thank you so much for taking my call. And I have to tell you, it makes me very sad to see what's happening in our country, and I hate the fact I have young children that are going to have to grow up in this nation that's not like it was when I was growing up, for
It's
sure.
changed so fast, too, hasn't it?
It has. It's very, very sad. But my question is kind of along that line. I have an 11-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son, and I work in the field of social work, and I'm familiar with the rate of things such as the sex trafficking and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to do to help my children, learn self-defense techniques and things that will help them be able to protect themselves?
Number one, Martha, I got so paranoid after being a judge for a year, I wouldn't let my kids stay the night at anybody's house. I'll tell you. But you're getting a little more specific. You got to expose them to some language that you would normally want to. Don't let anybody touch your private parts. You got to have that discussion with them that you would certainly rather not to. Frankly, I had to have a couple of drinks before I could do it. But the key is sometimes it's the most upstanding person in the community that you would never suspect who's doing that type thing.
Right.
And as to self-defense, it depends on the age. When they get around 12, then you can go with a pepper spray or something like that. But when you're talking about 4 or 5, you've just got to scream and run away type thing. And don't loan your kids out to a bunch of strangers that you don't know who they are.
Absolutely not.
And sometimes the strangers are, your own family members, too. When you've got that 58-year-old kind of strange bachelor uncle, and I'm not saying bachelors at 58, all of them are molesters. But, if your antenna goes up, maybe it ought to. Read a book called The Gift of Fear. I can't remember the guy, Gavin Beaker, I think is his name. And it tells you to trust your instincts. And it's not a prejudice. Trust your instincts. Start by reading that. Because it will get you tuned into what we all have inside of us. And I'll think of some more and report back to you next week.
All right. Thank you, Martha, for your call.
Thank you.
I tell you, I used to hate reading reports from DHR about those cases. They sicken me.
John, Tim, we have somebody online, Tim?
Yeah, Tim's here.
Hey, thank you for calling Armed Alabama.
Oh, absolutely. Enjoying your show there. I really like the context and everything of what y'all talking about. And perhaps I'll make a point and then a question.
Quickly,
but
yes, thank you.
Maybe Hillary there has gotten enough publicity in the wrong sense that it'll help, sway some votes whenever they go, even though she didn't get any direct punishment. Enough information came out about what actually did happen, so we can all make our logical our judgment ourselves when it comes time to vote, maybe.
Yes, thank you, Tim, for
we're
that
the
point.
ultimate judge and jury on that.
Yeah,
well, absolutely. If
we still have, I think with so much pressure that they, she's running for president, they just really couldn't. I don't know why I think that, but I think they found a way to get around it because of where she stands. But maybe the people will stand up and do the right thing when it comes time. That was my point. My question is, when you were talking earlier about home security and whatnot, I have several guns in my home, a pistol, like a 9mm, a single shotgun, a single rifle, only one bullet at a time type thing. or cartridge. And I'm just wondering, and I have a couple of 22s that will hold multiple. But as far as having one, I don't have any of them loaded. Excuse me, I have the 9mm loaded, but I don't have any of the other ones. For home security or for, maybe confronting someone at the door, would I be better off having one of the shotguns, say, with just one slug? It's only a 410.
I will tell you, no on shotguns. And quickly, if we run out of time, I'll continue after the break. A 22, listen, that's fine. But what you want to do, if you got a home invasion, you don't know who's coming there. In the middle of the night, you want to try to develop a safe room. And that's just a room that locks the door down good, a good, strong door with a brace on it. Get your family into that room, and you want to aim some gun at that door. And so if they start battering it down, you've got the right to shoot them when they come through, and you can call 911. You go out and try to engage them. It may be a Mexican meth gang with 8 people with AK-47s, and you're dead. But if you don't have young children, you need to have some loaded guns where you normally spend your time. If it's the family room, bedroom, and they need to be loaded, if you can't get to them in 15 seconds or less, they're not going to do you any good.
Well, that was going to be my other question real quick. The 9mm, I would fear that if it's in my bedroom and everyone's in their room asleep and somebody's come in at night or does come in at night and I try to fire at them within my room, I'm leery that bullet will go all the way through the house, through the drywall, and possibly
it probably
hurt
would.
Someone else. So that's why I was asking, is a shotgun better to have
not necessarily
shot and scare them away, or 9 bullets or 7 bullets?
Well, if you're concerned about that, let me answer that question. If you're concerned about that, ammunition selection is key for that to help guard yourself against overpenetration.
Guard dog, critical defense, one of those that has the polymer tip that'll expand. But what you want to try to do is, like with a fire drill, have some signal that isn't obvious, whatever, fire, and that'd be the one to get everybody in your room. Now, if you wake up and somebody's in your room, you've got a problem. That's start by locking all your doors. Most burglars come in through unlocked doors or windows. Sure. And, if you can get a dog that'll alert you, but you come up with a plan where you can get everybody in your room. That's the safest thing to do.
Or to lay down. I also thought maybe instead like fire, in other words, it gets everybody on the ground as low.
That's not bad.
If you have to fire, you're maybe going to shoot over them. Okay.
I
appreciate the information on that. I've always wondered.
We'll talk about it a little more next hour. Thank you for calling in. All right.
This is Armed Alabama.
Out in San Francisco to do. And I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee, a place where even squares can have a ball.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net.
It's the Prep Sports Report presented by Alpha, live from the Eastern Shore Toyota and Hyundai Studio Saturday mornings at 8. Brought to you in part by Tilmo's Barbecue, Green & Phillips, Old Shell Market, and Advanced Collision.
Hi, this is Coach Rick Cleveland. Join me, Mark Laster, and Corey LeBounty on Prep Sports Report 52 weeks a year as we discuss topics of interest, including interviews with players, coaches, and administrators.
It's the Prep Sports Report Saturday mornings at 8 on FM Talk 106.5.
Turning up your voice. FM Talk 106.5, WAVH FM, Daphne Fairhope, Mobile.
CBS News, I'm Bill Whitney.
The system is rigged, but we're still happy to be together, right? It's totally rigged.
Hours after the FBI said it's not recommending criminal charges against Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump is holding a rally in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Everybody thought, based on what was being said, she was guilty. It turned out we're not going to press charges. It's really amazing.
It was FBI Director James Comey who made the announcement. He said Clinton was extremely careless in her handling of State Department emails, some of them classified or even top secret.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Prosecutors at the Justice Department will make the final determination. Attorney General Loretta Lynch has said she will accept their recommendation. A statement from the Clinton campaign says the candidate has long said it was a mistake to use her personal email and she would not do it again.
Hillary! Hillary! Hillary!
Clinton campaigned in Charlotte today with the current occupant of the White House.
There has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. Ever.
Neither one mentioned the emails. A Donald Trump tweet depicting Hillary Clinton, cash, and a Star of David drew fire from House Speaker Paul Ryan today. He told Milwaukee station WTMJ that anti-Semitic images have no place in a presidential campaign.
My understanding is this is done by staff, not by he himself. But more importantly, they've got to clean this thing up.
Another allegedly radicalized young American is charged with plotting a Fort Hood-style shooting massacre on behalf of ISIS. Details from correspondent Dan Revive.
A former Virginia National Guard soldier, Mohammed Jallo, age 26, has been arrested by the FBI, charged with buying weapons for an ISIS attack in the U.S., probably this week to mark the end of the Muslim holy month Ramadan. Jallo, born in West Africa, was monitored by an FBI informant since returning from a trip in which he allegedly met ISIS radicals in Nigeria. Dan Revive, CBS News, Washington.
What brought down Egypt Air Flight 804 remains a mystery, but investigators are learning more.
The cockpit voice recorder is beginning to validate the fact they believe there was a fire. The flight data recorder showed that there was heat and potential fire.
CBS News transportation safety analyst Mark Rosinger says they should learn how the fire started when more wreckage is recovered. The Airbus A320 was on a flight from Paris to Cairo with 66 people aboard when it went down in the Mediterranean in May. The Dow 108 points lower today. It closed at 17,840. Winner of the Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Newscast 4 years in a row. This is CBS News.
You're unique. You don't walk like everyone, talk like everyone, or sleep like everyone. So why is your mattress one size fits all? Because a truly customized mattress will cost you $5,000 to $10,000 until now. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, where you can buy a mattress online, customized for you, for hundreds of dollars instead of thousands. Go to HelixSleep.com, answer a few simple questions based on 4 key preferences, and we'll run it through our proprietary algorithms and develop your custom sleep profile. The result, the most comfortable mattress you've ever slept on. Helix customers report a 30% improvement in overall sleep quality. And for couples, we customize each side of the mattress. Your mattress arrives at your door in about a week, and shipping is 100% free. That's why everyone from GQ Magazine to the Wall Street Journal are all talking about Helix Sleep. You have 100 nights to try it out, and if you don't love it, we'll pick it up for free and give you a 100% refund, no questions asked. Go to HelixSleep.com/talk and get $50 off your order. That's HelixSleep.com/talk, HelixSleep.com/talk.
If you watched the national fireworks on PBS last night, you really didn't see them. Neil Augenstein of Washington station WTOP explains.
Twitter users called out PBS for airing images of fireworks over clear Washington skies despite the misty weather, and for showing views of the Capitol without the scaffolding that's currently around it. As fake 4th was trending on social media, PBS acknowledged it had used old footage. Now a spokesperson for the show's producer says they apologize for their production choices. They weren't trying to be deceptive. They were just trying to do a good show for the international audience and especially armed forces serving around the world. Neil Augenstein for CBS News, Washington.
The Ark Encounter Christian theme park is set to open Thursday in Williamstown, Kentucky, complete with a 510-foot-long wooden ark. It's based on the biblical story of Noah. I'm Bill Whitney, CBS News.
You're unique.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
We'll expect isolated evening thunderstorms tonight. Low temperatures will be in the upper 70s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon thunderstorms, highs in the lower 90s. And the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny with isolated thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Join me weekdays for This Morning, America's First News. Hear the stories you'll be talking about and searching for all day as we go beyond the headlines and above the chatter with your first look at breaking news, money, Washington politics, technology, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and sports. We explain why stories matter. That's why we are referred to as the most important and relevant radio program. Join us weekdays for This Morning, America's First News.
The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's a price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome to the second hour of Armed Alabama. Glad you can join us tonight. For those who are just tuning in, this is our second hour. This is our first week. We have a 2-hour show. We start at 6 p.m. and we'll go to 8 p.m. tonight. And we're very excited and stoked about this opportunity. Also, we're excited because in the studio joining us is the Mobile County Republican Party Chairman, John Skipper. John, glad you could join us tonight. And you've been commenting along with us about the events of the day and about the Second Amendment, and also talking about how individuals can come and sit in on a Republican Party meeting and what they can do to join.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, I have, and it's been my pleasure to be here with you gentlemen this evening. Adam, I hear a lot of cases, a lot of people complaining about their candidate did not get selected, or because the right person is not going to be on the ballot in November, then they're just not going to vote. Well, that grieves me when I hear that, and I wanted to tell you that if I'm about to say something that hopefully will sway any of those people that have decided not to vote to get out and commit to vote, because the Supreme Court of the United States currently has one vacancy, and that's 8 justices to issue rulings on cases that reach them and impact the whole country. 23rd of June, the Supreme Court blocked President Obama's executive orders on immigration in a tied 4-4 decision. One vote away, and that would have allowed millions of illegal immigrants to avoid deportation. And according to the 2009-2013 U.S. Census, there is an estimated 72,000 illegal immigrants in Alabama. Let that sink in a minute.
The key word there is illegal.
That's right. Illegal means something. 72,000 in the state of Alabama. Forget the other 49 states. That's just in Alabama. Now, the other thing is on June 27th, the court, in a majority of 5-3 decision, struck down a pro-life Texas law that requires abortion clinics to meet surgical standards and abortion doctors to have admitting privileges. What this ruling has done, as far as Alabama goes, is it's going to possibly keep 3 clinics operating within this state. Folks, those are 2 critical Republican principles: the securing of our borders and the right of life to protect the unborn. if you have decided not to vote, I beg you, I urge you to please recommit and rethink that decision, because the next president of the United States very potentially could be able to name 4 replacements to the Supreme Court. And if you don't think that's going to shape American lives and our children and our grandchildren for generations to come, then you're just highly mistaken. Please vote on Tuesday, November the 8th. In terms of the Mobile County Republican Executive Committee, once again, we meet it on this coming Monday evening, July the 11th at 7 p.m., Westminster Presbyterian Church, corner of Airport Boulevard and Sage Avenue. The public is, as always, invited to come and hear what we do and participate and learn exactly how your Republican Party in this county is operated. There'll be some good announcements and some that we will actually have an election that evening regarding the State Executive Committee. We have 2 seats that are available now, and we will have that election this coming Monday evening. Also, if you heard me earlier, if not, there's two critical pieces of legislation that House Speaker Paul Ryan is probably going to put on the floor tomorrow. And we're encouraging people to contact Representative Bradley Byrne at the following number, 202-225-4931. If these 2 pieces of legislation are allowed to pass, that will be continued and more increased infringement on our rights, not just as Republicans, but as citizens, because it's very much anti-Second Amendment. Both of these pieces of legislation are. It grieves us to think that a Republican Speaker of the House is going to allow these pieces of legislation to come on the floor, but hopefully if we contact Representative Byrne, we believe he will be against it and will fight strongly on our behalf here in South Alabama.
You know, it seems to me, John, that anybody, one of those is the mental health issue. Anybody who has mental health issues shouldn't be allowed to work for a newspaper or television station because they can poison so many minds by doing that. Why isn't the Second Amendment as respected as the First or any of the others? But it's not, and we know why, because that's the left-wingers are anti-Second Amendment and anti-gun.
That's exactly right, Judge. And in terms of the way this administration has governed in the past 7 years, based on what we were talking about tonight with the Clintons, it's all about control, and it's all about dominance.
Right.
And if they are able to put this kind of legislation in front of the people and it pass, then that's just another step in eliminating some of these God-given rights that our founders fought so hard for and risked their very lives that we might have.
Right.
Thank you, John. We really appreciate you coming in tonight and being on the air with us. So, Judge, we still have a lot.
Well, let's get our caller because we may lose him.
That's what I was going to say.
John, thank you again, and we'll have you on again. And let's remember 251-343-0106 for callers or text. And we have Bryce, I believe, on the line.
Hey, yeah, man.
Hey, Bryce.
I got a recommendation for those that got guns that want to sell them. They better hang on to them because we're coming into a system now that's you better hold your own.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I said I'd never gotten rid of a gun. Now I've got way too many, even guns I don't like.
My question is, you got the Clintons out here and all these big-time politicians that are ruling the roost and breaking the law and getting by with it and crucifying the people that's got their guns that are upholding the law within their own. I mean, what can we do as a people to stop this? I mean, how can we protest them? I mean, how can we put her on the hot seat? How can we put these people on the hot seat that, I mean, you got police officers to go out here and uphold the law, but they get put on the hot seat. What can we do to stop these big-time politicians as a people? I mean, that's my question. I mean, I've had a belly full.
Well, Bryce,
they get by with bloody murder.
Bryce, that's a good point. John Skipper of the Republican Party, he was here. The chairman just outlined all of that. Get involved, vote, come to the meetings, make your voices known to these politicians, and that you can do that by emailing, calling, sending letters.
It's going to take more than emails and calling.
I'll be a little more radical, Bryce.
I mean, you got your LGBT people that go down here and walk through Washington, D.C. and get by and get hurt. I mean, what can the regular people that believe in the concepts of the American policy and what we was born in, one nation under God, what can we do as a people to get together and walk down there and say, you know, Clinton, you caused Benghazi. You people that you could have helped then. I mean,
Bryce, we're getting ready to go into a break.
To see what's going on in this country.
We're getting ready to go into a break. When we come back, we're going to let you go because we're about to lose you. I'm going to give you about 60 seconds of what I think you're talking about, because the people are the sovereign, and that's where it all lies. So when we come back, you just keep listening, and I'll explain it to you. All right?
All right, join us after the break. This is Armed Alabama.
When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time. If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Survival kit contents check. In them you'll find 145 caliber automatic, 2 boxes of ammunition, 4 days concentrated emergency rations, 1 drug issue containing antibiotics, morphine, vitamin pills, pep pills, sleeping pills, tranquilizer pills, 1 miniature combination Russian phrase book and Bible, $100 in rubles, $100 in gold, 9 packs of chewing gum, 1 issue of prophylactics.
All right, old Slim Pickens and Dr. Strangelove. To explain to Bryce a little bit, the Declaration of Independence, and numerous judges have offered this opinion too, that if there ever becomes a point after you have tried every alternative means, voting, running candidates, if the government stops elections, stops your rights, basic rights, if the Supreme Court is no help, which they are not, if they have perverted the Constitution to such an extent that is unrecognizable, then you have a right, according to our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution, to replace any government that becomes that tyrannical. Now, how do you know when that happens? When there is martial law declared, which the government can't really do except under extreme circumstances. If habeas corpus is suspended like President Lincoln did illegally and unconstitutionally, if the press is shut down illegally and unconstitutionally, if these things happen, then you have the right, or the people are the ultimate sovereign in this country. Like some countries it's the king, some countries it's the parliament. In the United States, it is the people. If things get that bad, then the people have the ultimate right to depose the despotic government and replace it that's why we're here. That's what happened with the United States and the colonies. We deposed a despotic government. But we've got to do everything first to make sure that doesn't happen. And the problem is that 90% of the good people, what Nixon used to call the silent majority, are just sitting there on their fanny eating potato chips and not doing anything.
Yeah, it's time for the silent majority to stop being silent.
Oh, absolutely. If we had half of the silent majority just get out and vote, it would be a landslide. And vote in every election, not just a presidential election, every election. Because I've told you before, Congress could put a leash on the Supreme Court so fast it would shock people. Half the things the Supreme Court are doing is because Congress has given them the authority to do it, the jurisdiction to do it.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. All right, you want to take John over in Robertsdale?
Hi, John. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Hey guys, great show, and I'm just flabbergasted with what the FBI did today.
Yeah.
Your last paragraph was phenomenal, and I think what the FBI did today is pretty tantamount to what we're going to be seeing next. They said that Hillary Clinton did not act treasonous, nor did she act disloyal, so that charges will not be filed. What about negligence? What about dereliction of duty? What about, just gross misunderstanding of her role as Secretary of
like
State?
General Petraeus, yeah.
Well, basically the FBI just kind of rewrit that law to kind of let her off.
Well, then we're no longer a nation of laws, and it's ironic that it happened on July 5th, one day after our birthday, when we declared our independence. I am flabbergasted. I was on this morning show. I was convinced, maybe naively, but if the fix is in, the fix is in, and if supposedly we are the sovereign in charge of the nation, then have we reached that point of your last paragraph?
Well, it's one of those things you're going to know in your heart, and it's just hard to say. But we're getting there. And, the legislation to create the FBI only passed by one vote because the Congress was so opposed to a national police force because they knew the danger it could create to liberty. And I think you're seeing it right now.
Well, I tell you what, I know that one of the websites I go on, Zero Hedge, and I'll paraphrase it, but there was just a military officer that all he did was forward information to the wrong location via email, and I think he did 24 months plus 5 years probation.
Wouldn't be surprised,
multiply something like that out hundreds, and if not thousands of times without any protection on your server, that is the most obscene negligence, and to have it not be indicted, not even investigated after an indictment, not even a grand jury,
right,
is phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And I went to Sessions' Facebook page and Burns' Facebook page, and I sent them the article. But I think that's their number one goal as representative of the people. If you, I, or any other citizen of Baldwin County did 1/100th of what this Secretary of State, who now wants to be our president, did, we'd never be seen from again.
Oh, yeah, we'd be in a hole for 20 years. You're right.
It's ridiculous. I'll let you get some other callers on, but great show. And, something else I'm saying is I tell my family we can neither confirm nor deny the presence of weapons in my household when weapons are discussed. So
absolutely,
that's just the way I'm keeping it.
I would too.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your call. We've got a lot of callers on the phones right now. We're going to go quickly through these phone calls. Cheryl, welcome to Armed Alabama. Thank you.
Yes, I have one question. What is the difference between us having a gun for self-defense and Hillary or Billary or whatever she's called and Obama having Secret Service for their self-defense?
Well, there's a couple of – I understand what you're saying. There is a special act that makes it, first of all, it's not it's a crime to insinuate that you want to kill the president. It's not a crime to insinuate that you'd like to kill me. there's a special act that applies to them, and they get the Secret Service protection for life. It's kind of like the I hate to put it this way, Hitler's SS and the guard they had around him. Warren Harding, I know at least to his presidency in the 1920s, you could just knock on the door to the White House. And now we've got this imperial presidency where if you go up to the fence, you're shot down dead. It's just amazing to me. And it applies to Republicans, too. I'll tell you, both sides. Both sides have used the Secret Service to take care of political enemies for them, to suppress evidence, etc. And we need to kind of get away from treating our presidents like royalty, because that's one of the things they discussed at the formation of the Constitution. We didn't want royalty; we wanted a president
of the people.
And I'm afraid we've gotten back to royalty.
Okay. Well, I was just upset about that we can't defend ourselves, but they can have guns all around them to defend them.
Well, you can defend yourself in this state, but you have to be in imminent fear of either death or serious physical injury. And the problem is you're risking, and you'll know when that happens. You're still always risking a prosecution. They're never going to risk a prosecution because they don't have to pull the trigger.
All right, thank you for the phone call.
Gun rights away.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next caller is Brian. Brian, welcome to Armed Alabama.
Hey, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. I've just been really I'm not surprised that Hillary was not indicted. That was like, when I walked in and saw the headlines, it was just kind of, I took it. It was no surprise at all, and it's just gotten ridiculous. I really like your show. I really like that you guys are big Second Amendment guys. Now, tell me if my interpretation of the Second Amendment is off or whether it's on target, but I've always kind of felt that the reason why the Second Amendment is in place is so citizens not only can protect themselves, but they need to keep the government in check.
Well, you're right. Let me back up a little further. The Second Amendment was never supposed to apply to the states. It was supposed to apply to the federal government. But it was supposed to allow you to protect yourself and your family against criminals and Indians, and in the event the government became too oppressive, to protect yourself against the government.
Right. Okay. Well, that's
you got it.
That's what I thought. And war nowadays is so much more technological than it was, when the Constitution was written. And the argument I hear all the time, which is really kind of crazy, is, well, back when the Second Amendment was written, they were talking about muskets. And it's like, well, as technology advances, firearms change, and I don't think it's supposed to be limited to an antique firearm. That's crazy to me.
Well,
second of all,
exactly. And, to the argument that how could you ever fight the government, you know what? Unfortunately, the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese defeated us, let's face it. Of course, it was the Democrats in Congress that allowed that, but they were using two generations weapons less sophisticated. If you have the will to defeat somebody, you're going to defeat them. It doesn't matter what kind of weapons you have.
One of the things that is going on right now, there's a lot of controversy about drones and that sort of thing. That technology has kind of shifted in that direction. And I don't know if you've noticed, but as soon as drones became a widespread thing where... Would
you like to hold through the break, or we're up against a break? Would you rather hold, or we'll talk about drones off the air, on the other side of the break?
Right.
You want to hold on, or I'll talk about it without you when we get back?
Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll thank you for calling. Call next week, all right? I'll talk about drones when I get back.
All right. You listen to Armed Alabama.
They're walking on the fighting side of me, running down a way of life our fighting men have fought and died to keep.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
We'll expect isolated evening thunderstorms tonight. Low temperatures will be in the upper 70s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with scattered afternoon thunderstorms, highs in the lower 90s. And the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny with isolated thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
For FM Talk 106.5, I'm Roseanne Haven, News 5. An undocumented immigrant staying in Summerdale is charged with sex abuse of a child under 12. Baldwin County deputies have arrested Miguel Hernandez. If you have outstanding traffic tickets in the city of Pritchard, now's your chance to pay those without getting arrested. The city is offering amnesty through September 6th.
It's an opportunity to finish the year with a clean slate and give them an opportunity to continue their lives without the threat of being arrested.
Pritchard Chief of Staff Philip Steele. A brush fire in Grand Bay burning for 3 days now. Facing small flare-ups overnight, crews dug new fire lines to wet the area to keep it from spreading. No injuries from a crash at a business in Mobile this morning. A truck ran into Quick Pawn Shop on Spring Hill Avenue. No word on what caused the wreck or if the driver faces charges. For FM Talk 106.5, I'm Roseanne Haven, News 5.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Why, you gonna pull those pistols or whistle Dixie?
Whistle Dixie.
My mouth's too dry right now. Going back to the drone issue, we talked about it on the Gun Show on KSGF in Springfield the other week. They are probably the biggest threat to privacy, or going to make privacy non-existent, because the law used to be that you own from the ground to the sky or into space. And then it changed to, well, as long as an aircraft, as high as an aircraft could go, you could be observed. Well, aircraft had to stay at least, 500 to 1,000 feet above you, and cameras weren't very good. These drones can, hover at a couple of hundred feet. They're very small. You can't see them. And, let's face it, there's some people that go out in their backyard and do things that we wouldn't do. And they're drones hovering around there. They have microphones, cameras, and a lot of them are being operated by the federal government. And that has destroyed the right of privacy. But if you're interested, I think it was a couple of weeks ago on our section called Crime and Tech, www.ksgf.com, and look for the Gun Show, and it's the last hour. But I've got another Brownell's AR-15 30-round magazine. Now, this was a letter written by someone right after the Declaration of Independence was signed. And this person wrote in a letter, Independence Day ought to be solemnized by games, parades, guns, bells, and bonfires. Who was the person that wrote that letter? If anybody knows, they get that AR-15 magazine.
That's a good piece of trivia.
Yeah, it really is. And I love the guns because that's why I grabbed it. 343-0106. 343-0106.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a caller. Marcus, thanks for waiting on the line for us.
Okay,
Glad you could join us.
Thank you very much. That's the first time I ever called in, but I just have a question. Of course, it's about guns, but it's a lot of other things, like we being suppressed with a lot of our rights other than just them wanting to take our guns and stuff like that. Do you think there will ever come a point where a group of states will get to the point the people in those states will have had enough and draw a line in the sand and said, look, we've had enough. Either our people don't see things the way you see them, and if you're not going to meet us halfway, we can govern ourselves and like we did once before. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not bringing up the Civil War or nothing, but I'm just saying there could be a time where people have had enough of this and want to, just break away again.
I think if that happens, see, when Alabama re-entered the Union, of course, the Yankees say we never left the Union. I don't know how we re-entered it. They forced us to put a provision in our Constitution that we acknowledged secession was illegal. So we could change that. But I think if that happens, it'll be some states in the West. And I don't mean California. It'll be 3 or 4 states in the West. I think
there'll ever be a time where there'll just be enough of an uprising where people just draw a line in the sand and say, look, we've had it. Just like they wanting to bring those aliens down, illegal aliens, and put them in Baldwin County at the 2 bases. I mean, there's no way the people can say, look, we're not allowing you to bring them here. We're just not.
I'd like to tell you yes, but I'm kind of pessimistic. I think the people are intoxicated on their iPhones and on their Netflix and everything else, and most people don't even know what's going on.
Well, I believe that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for
calling. Thank you for your call, Marcus. Next caller, we have Chris. Chris, welcome to Armed Alabama.
Well, I just wanted to ask you about my self-defense weapon. I carry a .357, the 2.5-inch barrel with 110 grain carbon holly point. Do y'all think that's still a good defense weapon, or hear y'all talking about the high-tech stuff, 9mm high-capacity clips, things like that?
As long as you're carrying it in the right kind of holster, as long as you can draw and fire, and I'll give you 3 seconds. I mean, ideally it'll be a couple. But if you can draw and fire that in 2 or 3 seconds, yeah, you're in good shape.
Yeah, it's close in. It ain't no distance weapon like
right.
that.
Well, no, most of the self-defense shootings are 10 feet or less.
Right.
So you still think of 6 shots enough?
Yeah, because the average self-defense shooting, now you may not get involved in an average, but the average self-defense shooting is 4 shots or less.
Yeah.
In distances of 10 feet or less.
Yeah. Just make sure you fast, accurate shots.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to take your course, and that way y'all can teach me how to just bring you close to my body and shoot from the
right.
inside.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to get in a tussle over your gun.
Right. I always get tickled when I see instructors have people standing at targets, 15, 20, 25 feet away and stand there and slow fire at these reduced targets and say, okay, here's your certification, you're good to go.
Range shooting.
Yeah.
Range shooting. But no, that it won't blow anybody's head clean off. But I guess that was a .44 Magnum that Clint Eastwood was talking. But no, you're center mass into.
You think 57's got enough stopping power?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hollow point? Yeah.
Yeah. The general rule of thumb is, a 9mm up. But let me tell you, there are more people killed with 22s than anything else.
Yep.
But then again, there are more people shot with 22s than anything else.
And that's a good defense weapon too.
It is.
A little small .22 revolver.
It's whatever you're going to carry and whatever you're good with.
Yep, exactly.
It sounds like you're good with that.
Well, I'm going to take your course. I appreciate y'all's show. I enjoy it a lot.
Good.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Wow.
And
a lot of good calls tonight.
And ordinarily, it takes a little extra practice for a revolver. But if you got one and you're good with it, boy, the .357, and most .357s are interchangeable with .38s. You can practice with your .38s that are cheaper.
And that's a good point. And the little extra practice is reloading it.
There you go. You have a speed loader in your pocket.
Right. A good speed loader that you need to purchase for your firearm, and you have a holster for your firearm, and you need to have some type of holster for your speed loader, or if you're comfortable, carry it in your pocket. But be able to quickly access that speed loader and quickly be able to reload your weapon. Because once you make your 5 or 6 shots, you need to be able to quickly reload. Or even if you make 4 shots, you have 2 left. You've made your shots. The bad guy is down. Now's the time you want to reload.
Yeah.
When you have time,
a gang's attacking.
Yeah,
you.
when you have time and opportunity.
Absolutely.
What's the old adage? Don't reholster an empty weapon.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one is the fastest reload on a revolver is another revolver. But
RJ Michalek.
Sometimes that's a little too expensive. But it takes a little bit extra skill generally with a revolver. I did a timing, and by the way, I got us a timer now. But that it generally took people could rattle off 3 or more seconds. They could shoot 3 rounds in about 6 seconds with a semi-auto, but it was close to 11 with a revolver. But if they practice, they can get it down. But it was a lot of extra pressure for people at first.
All right, I think we have a caller that had the right answer to your trivia question.
Oh, good. We did. And by the way, the answer to that was John Adams, and he wrote that to his wife. He was so excited after the Declaration of Independence was adopted that he wrote to his wife that Independence Day ought to be solemnized by games, parades, bells, bonfires, and it goes on and on. So he gave his approval to not necessarily firing in the air, but to celebrating the Declaration of Independence by Independence Day. And, of course, most people, I don't know if you ever watched that channel, Mark Dice on YouTube. He interviewed 30 or 40 people, and most of them had no earthly idea. The one from Canada did, although he said the capital of Alabama was Mobile. He said, I had a teacher from Alabama, and he didn't even know the capital of Alabama was Mobile. But he did know what Independence Day was, so I thought that was pretty good. Adam, we got a little lull, and I'm going to ask you a question or two that would kind of help bring out some topics for us. Now, we've talked before, but I'm going to emphasize it again. What's the difference between range shooting and then what we call close quarters combat or just gunfighting shooting? What's the difference between the two?
Well, we've already kind of hit on that subject a little bit with the previous caller talking about the revolver and the close distances. Range shooting is just that. You're at the range, you're static, you're stationary in front of a target, whether it be, 20, 25 feet away or what have you, and you're just slow firing at that target. Self-defense shooting and the kind of things that we teach is very dynamic in comparison. So those ranges are very, very close, and our times that we stress as far as engagement times are very, very short based on the statistics that we know. Those statistics are shootings take place within 10 feet and an average of 2 to 3 rounds in 2 to 3 seconds. So if you're not curtailing your training regimen to fit within that window, then you're defeating yourself.
Yeah, and I'm afraid a lot of people aren't. That brings to mind that I was looking at some of the self-defense ammunition that we've talked about down at McCoy's, and it's really essential that you use self-defense ammunition at least to carry and to make sure it works in your gun first, because it may not function in the semi-automatic. Something like a Guard Dog or Hornady's Critical Defense, what are those types? Because a lot of them, they have a polymer filling in the hollow point, and sometimes the hollow points will get jammed up on the feed ramp, get caught. So whatever you use some type of hollow point, because it does a couple of things. One, it is supposed to mushroom when it hits your body, and number two, it won't overpenetrate. And McCoy's has got a complete selection of all ammunition. So buy your full metal jacket to practice with, but then buy your hollow point, some type, good quality kind, but buy some extra to make sure they work in your firearm and they don't get hung up. And They have other stuff down there, the mace pepper spray gun, so you can have your continuum of force down there. I think they're getting the phased plasma rifles back in the 40-watt range. Now, McCoy Outdoors is your hometown sporting and outdoor gear store. They're located on Spring Hill Avenue, 3498 Spring Hill Avenue, and you can check them out at McCoy Outdoor Co. Company. .com or on Facebook at McCoy Outdoor Company. They're one of our sponsors, and they've got everything for your outdoor sports needs.
And if you want to call into our station, you can call 251-343-0106. We still got a lot more people online, and we're going to have to catch them after the break. Be sure and check us out on our webpage. It's armedalabama.com, and you can check us out on Facebook, Armed Alabama Radio FM Talk 106.5. So catch us after this break. This is Armed Alabama.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which will it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
See, we are really politically incorrect, aren't we?
Yeah, we cut the last part of it. I was waiting for him to say, "Fill your hands." All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We got some phone calls we're going to get to very quickly. First caller is Joe. Joe, glad you could join us.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Joe.
You're on, Joe.
You're on there, Joe. Joe.
Okay, next caller.
Sean.
Hey, Sean. Glad you could join Armed Alabama.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Two quick questions. One, and I'll hang up on the first question if you can just answer that one online. I heard somebody asking about a course that you guys teach. I've got my wife and daughter. I just bought them both the little Ruger LC9s.
Yeah.
And they're both new to shooting. I'm just wondering what classes locally are available for females. If you could maybe answer that one offline or after I hang up. And then the other question I have is, if you have a concealed carry permit for my daughter, she attends a local large state university. If she has a concealed carry permit, can she legally carry that weapon in her book bag while on campus? Because obviously it does her no good to have it, in her car or in her dorm if they're mass shooting on campus.
I can tell you that real quick. The legislature defeated or wouldn't bring up the bill to allow that. It's outrageous, but she cannot. Depending on the school she goes to, I'm sure they have a rule where she can't do this. Buy one of those mace pepper spray guns for her to carry on campus. They're $40 or something, and you can get a holster for it. It'll shoot 15 or 20 feet, and have that in the car so she can carry around the campus, and then have her a Ruger for other times. And we'll be scheduling. We got messed up. We're scheduling a class in the next month or so, and then y'all can come to the class. Email either thejudge@armedalabama.com or adam@armedalabama.com and say, I have, 1, 2, whatever, interested in taking your class.
Because we'll be scheduling classes pretty quick. All right, great. We have some good phone calls. Next, Joe. Joe, welcome to Armed Alabama.
Well, I can't quite hear you. What's I got to do? Turn my radio up?
No, turn your songbird up. You know that little thing dial on your ear? Turn that up. Don't listen to your radio. Listen to us on the phone.
Well, I got it as loud as I can get it.
Okay, can you hear me? Just talk.
I heard Mr. Putin talk on the television about Hillary promising him while she was Secretary of State, she was going to give him all the islands around Alaska, the stuff where they found the oil and stuff.
Yeah.
And I heard Putin say, the newsman asked Putin, he said, well, what about the water rights? And he said, well, I'm going to ask that too.
Well, that's bad. We're going to undo that when she loses.
Huh?
We're going to undo all that when she loses, right?
Yeah.
She's not going to get in there.
But I tell you what, if she can get by with that, her and her old man, and Putin pays them quite a bit of money, same way with China paid them quite a bit of money to going over there and talking.
You're right.
Them and tell them what they're going to do.
Joe, listen on the radio, and I'll finish up the answer, all right? I think you'll hear me better. Turn up the radio and hang up, and you can hear me better.
Thank you for your call, Joe.
Yeah, the statute of limitations won't have run when Trump becomes president, and he can prosecute both Hillary and if Bill was obviously involved in obstruction of justice when he met with the Attorney General the other day.
That's a good point.
Just because the FBI doesn't recommend it doesn't mean anything. If they violated the law, they violated the law, and they can be indicted and tried. So it won't have run in 9 months. So that should take care of that, and they need to be made an example of. All right, that was a lightning round, and I'm glad we got our first 2-hour show that was busy like that. Couple of things I gave you a list. I don't want to sabotage you or anything, but if you want to ask me any of those while we finish up.
Sure. These are some good points. What if Hillary wins, Judge, and appoints 1 or 2 members to the Supreme Court, and they eventually hold that the Second Amendment does not mean what Justice Scalia and the court said it meant in the Heller case? Does that end the right to keep and bear arms?
No. All that means is then the Ninth Amendment, which says the enumeration of certain rights in this Constitution does not, I can think of the exact words, does not mean that we have purposely left out other rights. In other words, they listed a number of rights in the Bill of Rights, but they purposely said, but we're not listing them all because they're too numerous to mention, like the right to travel is a right the courts have recognized. The right to keep and bear arms is certainly a right that is encompassed within the Ninth Amendment, and there's plenty of scholarship on that, so I think the Ninth Amendment would kick in. And most states, like Alabama, have a Bill of Rights similar to the U.S. Constitution's. Alabama says every person has a right to bear arms in defense of himself and the states. So it would still exist, because keep in mind the Second Amendment wasn't even recognized as what we recognize it at until 2008. So they can do what they want, but it's still going to exist.
Okay, the next one is, and this is a really good one, a lot of people get confused about what is stand your ground, the law, what it means, what are they, and what does Alabama's stand your ground law really mean?
Legally, what it means is if you're in a place that you have the legal right to be, let's say walking on a sidewalk, and you're not doing anything illegal like selling drugs or something like that, and you are threatened with either deadly force or great bodily harm, that you can respond with up to deadly force, and you don't have to escape, run away. You used to have to run away if you could do that in complete safety. You don't have to do that. Now, there's a reasonableness factor, and I think I've mentioned this before. If you're sitting in your car and it's running and somebody's running at you with a machete, and you can easily press the gas and drive away, it's reasonable that you should drive away. But you don't have to. You can stand your ground and defend yourself. But as I said, you got to be kind of reasonable about it. If you can easily press the gas and drive off, you should do that.
All right, Judge, a while ago, you was talking about buying the pepper spray. So I just wanted to make an announcement that McCoy's Outdoor actually has the pepper spray that you were talking about.
I think they're the only one in the county that I know
and
of.
We're not talking about a little pepper spray canister.
Looks like a flare gun.
Yes. And
you should wear it in a holster around your belt. Absolutely.
So I just want to make that point.
And you have a water canister with it. You can practice so you can see where it goes. I've probably given 12 away.
And you've demonstrated that several times in different classes with the water canister, and you can practice with that. And then, of course, you can put in the red canister, which is the pepper spray itself, and it sprays out, 20, 25 feet.
Yeah, and you've, that's the zone. Between that and a taser, I would take the pepper spray.
Yeah, and I had got some I was going to take to the mountains with me on vacation because the black bear actually have been kind of bad this year about attacking people camping, this, that, and the other, drug one individual out of his tent. So, yeah.
Do they work on the alligators, too?
That was alligators maybe, too, yeah.
One thing we want to do for next week, if you've gotten a new gun in the past, let's say, year, let's get a range report from you. How's it doing? What do you think of it? That's rifle or pistol. Let us know about it. New gun, range report. We want to thank our sponsors, which we have a number. We have Mahmoud Siddiq, and he's an excellent real estate agent, and see him for all the your real estate needs.
We have Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, and, of course, McCoy Outdoor Company. We also have David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota. So these are the individuals that are our businesses that are running advertisement on our show, are sponsoring our show. If you would like to advertise or sponsor the show, please contact us or the station. You can reach myself and the judge at Armed Alabama and Adam at Armed Alabama, or you can just go to our website and you can contact us from there. We'll be glad to add you as an advertiser or a sponsor. Catch us next week, 6 p.m., prime time.
Tell a friend also.
This is Armed Alabama.
The rest of us can count on being free. They love our milk and honey, but they preach about some other way of living. And when they're running down our country, man, they're walking on the fighting